After the end of the Great War, the world changed beyond recognition. The Ottoman, German and Austrian empires ceased to exist. Many new states were formed on the territory of the former empires, such as Austria, Hungary, Czechoslovakia and several German states controlled by the great powers. Despite the end of the Great War, unresolved conflict still existed in some regions of Europe. A new territorial conflict arose between former allies Italy and the newly formed Yugoslavia. At the peace conference in Versailles, Belgrade demanded the transfer under its control of all territories of the Balkan Peninsula inhabited by the Slavs. However, as a result of the Treaty of Versailles, the territories of Zara, Dalmatia and Istria were transferred to Italy. Belgrade tried to protest against this decision, but the great powers did not satisfy Serbia's demands. Because of this, a new territorial dispute arose on the Balkan Peninsula, this time between Rome and Belgrade. In addition to the conflict in the Balkans, the political situation was heating up in Hungary, where after the end of the Great War, as a result of a revolution, the communists came to power in the country. The government of Bela Kun began to carry out repressions within the country and intended to return the territories lost after the signing of the Trianon Peace Treaty, as well as to spread communist ideas to neighboring states. And what awaits Europe in the coming years, we will find this out right now. And before we start, I would like to say thank you to everyone who liked this video and subscribed to my channel. Well, now let's begin. After the collapse of the Austro-Hungarian Empire and the signing of the Treaty of Trianon, the political situation in a newly formed Hungary worsened every day. After several months of political struggle, a communist revolution took place in the country. The new government, led by Bela Kun, intended to denounce the Treaty of Trianon, increase the army, and regain lost territories by force. The establishment of the communist regime and the strengthening of revanchist sentiments in the Budapest posed a serious threat to the countries of the Little Entente, and therefore, in early May, the leaders of Yugoslavia, Romania and Czechoslovakia held a meeting in Belgrade, at which they discussed a plan for intervention in Hungarian territory in order to overthrow the communist government. On May 8, 1916, Little Entente troops crossed the Hungarian border, launching an offensive from Budapest with the support of the Hungarian anti-communist movement, led by Miklos Horthy. Within a few weeks, the armies of the Free States managed to completely defeat the detachments of the Hungarian communists and occupy the largest cities in the country, after which the moderate government of Miklos Horthy was established in Hungary. Thanks to timely and confident actions on the part of the Little Entente, it was possible to maintain stability in the region and stop the spread of communist ideas in neighboring countries. Meanwhile, a new large-scale conflict was flaring up in the fragments of the Ottoman Empire. After defeat in the Great War, the Ottoman Empire lost most of its territories, and a pro-British puppet regime was installed on the remnants of the former empire. The Turkish public was extremely dissatisfied with the loss of territories and British rule, and therefore the formation of resistance units began in the territories of the former empire. The famous Turkish general Mustafa Kemal led the nationalist movement, enlisting the support of the military and the common population of Turkey. On November 19th, Mustafa Kemal declared war on the pro-British regime, intending to establish full control over the territories controlled by Ankara, and then liberate the lands occupied by Italy, France, Great Britain and Russia. In the first weeks of fighting, Turkish troops managed to advance significantly and occupy several small towns approaching the Ottoman capital. Ankara, aware of the weakness and disorganization of its armed forces, requested support from the great powers, and on the 24th of November, Russia announced the beginning of an intervention on the lands of the Ottoman Empire in order to suppress the nationalist rebellion. Mustafa Kemal's troops were unable to provide organized resistance to the Russian Imperial Army, and soon Russian soldiers marched through Turkish cities, after which the rebellion was completely suppressed. Meanwhile, Yugoslavia was rebuilding its destroyed cities and economy after the Great War. Infrastructure and industry were actively developing in the newly acquired territories, and destroyed buildings were being restored. And although the Great War had already ended, Belgrade had to prepare for a new large-scale conflict on the Balkan Peninsula, as relations with Italy were deteriorating every day. The leadership of Yugoslavia considered the decision of the great powers to transfer the territories of the Balkan Peninsula, populated predominantly by Slavic populations, to Italian control to be unfair. And if Belgrade failed to return these territories on the diplomatic field, then the Yugoslav leadership will do so by force. However, in order to win the war with Italy, it was necessary to completely reform the kingdom's armed forces. First, it was necessary to begin the formation of naval forces in order to effectively resist Rome and the Adriatic Sea and prevent enemy landings on the coast. To accomplish this task, the construction of shipyards began in the coastal cities of the kingdom, where the construction of destroyers and dreadnoughts would soon begin. However, it will take decades to build a strong and large fleet, and therefore, in order to ensure superiority at sea, the kingdom's military factories began mass production of naval bombers, which will cause significant damage to the Italian fleet from the air. Reforms were also carried out in the land army of the kingdom. From now on, great attention in the Yugoslav army was paid to firepower, the number of artillery pieces and the mobility of the armed forces, for which the production volumes of military transport at military factories significantly increased. Also, in preparation for a full-scale war with Italy, the construction of defensive structures began on the Adriatic coast to combat enemy naval invasions. The country's military command developed an invasion plan, according to which Yugoslav divisions would first begin to invade Albanian territory in order to protect the country from the opening of a second front, since the Albanian government was controlled by Rome. After establishing complete control over Albania, the Yugoslav army will launch a large-scale offensive in Dalmatia, the main goal of which will be to capture the largest port towns on the Adriatic coast. This will cut off the Italian divisions from supplies, and then destroy the remnants of the encircled Italian army. Once control of the Adriatic coast is established, it will be necessary to ensure air and sea superiority. This was necessary for the landing operation, after which the Yugoslav army would launch an offensive deep into the Italian territories, which will force Rome to capitulate. However, in order to implement the offensive plan, it was necessary to secure the eastern territories of the kingdom from a possible invasion from Greece, which had claims to the territory of Eastern Macedonia. Soon, Yugoslav diplomats arrived in Athens in order to improve relations with the Greek leadership. Several months of diplomatic interactions made it possible to reach a secret agreement, according to which Greece, after the end of the conflict with Italy, received disputed territories in southern Albania, predominantly inhabited by Greeks. In return, the Greek leadership promised not to enter the war on the Italian side. On May 25, 1919, the Kingdom of Yugoslavia declared war on Albania. The Italian government declared its intention to defend Albania from invasion. Within a few days, Yugoslav troops managed to encircle most of the Albanian armed forces, after which the remnants of the Albanian army laid down their arms, and a puppet government was formed on the territory of the kingdom. Meanwhile, the Yugoslav war gradually advanced in Dalmatia, and by mid-June, Italian troops were surrounded in the city of Split, where they were soon destroyed, after which the army of the kingdom established complete control over the Adriatic coast. However, the navy and the aviation failed to achieve superiority in the Adriatic Sea, and therefore the plan for a naval invasion of Italy could not be implemented. Therefore, the Yugoslav army had no choice but to launch an offensive in Istria. Because of the too narrow front and the large number of troops of the enemy army, the kingdom's troops only managed to advance slightly deeper into the region, after which the offensive was stopped. However, the Italian general imperial staff, despite the extremely high losses, continued their offensive, wanting to return the lost territories. The war between Italy and Yugoslavia soon became a trench war, and over the course of 2 long years claimed the lives of several 100,000 people on the Yugoslav side. Italy, because of their constant attacks, lost more than 1 million soldiers without achieving any success at the front. This provoked a crisis within Italy. People came out to protest and were on strikes, demanding an end to the war. In early January 1922, the leaders of Italy and Yugoslavia held a diplomatic meeting in Geneva, at which a peace agreement was signed, ending the war. As a result of the peace conference, the territories of Dalmatia and Zara, as well as the territory in the north of Albania inhabited by Montenegrins, came under the control of Yugoslavia. The city of Fiume became an independent, demilitarized territory. Greece, under a secret treaty, received territory in the south of Albania, and although Belgrade failed to establish complete control over the Balkan Peninsula, the Black Hand, being in power, could turn small agrarian Serbia into a strong and industrialized Yugoslav kingdom, uniting all the South Slavic peoples under its flag. Well, this is the walkthrough for Serbia comes to an end, so you can help me create a video and give me an idea for the next walkthrough in the comments. And of course, do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel for more interesting How4 videos. Have a nice day, see you soon guys!